Acevedo Aesthetics Corp. This is Made in House. It's the show where we chat through various topics on design, culture, and the business of creativity. Now say hello and welcome Kari and Angel.
All right. Season 2, Made in House. We are here.
How was your break?
Break was a lot of things happened in break.
Actually,
and we're probably gonna talk about it. But welcome everybody to Made in House. My name is Angel Acevedo. This is Kari Acevedo. Mm-hmm. We're both creative directors at Acevedo Co. And we're excited to start another season. Chat through a lot of things. We actually got a schedule this time of things that we want to chat about.
We do.
And we're really excited about it. So how are you feeling, Kari? What are you thinking about the season?
I feel good. Actually, I'm a little nervous. You know, when you stop doing something for a while, it feels like you're doing it again for the first time. So,
so we got to get back into like
it feels like forever since we last recorded, and it's probably been a few weeks.
Yeah, it's been, right? Has it?
I think it's been no more than 4 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot has happened.
Which is why it feels like
so.
Yeah.
But before we get into the topic, and we got a lot of things planned for the season. I think it's Aevin Cam. Della, zoom in over here.
I love how you say that and it never happens.
Della, for the love of God, use the wide cam and zoom into the empty room. Why? Because Aevin's here, babe.
Aevin's here. He's always here.
Yeah, so it's Aevin Cam.
He's gonna do a cameo. He's gonna magically appear.
Or you want to clap and he appears? No. We got Miss.
He's here with us, and he's talking now, guys.
Don't let him grab the mic. Oh, there it is.
There he is.
Hey,
hi,
puppy.
Papa. You want to say hi?
Say hi to all your fans.
He's 10 months now.
10 months.
He's growing really fast. But this has unintentionally become the Keeping Up with Aevin show. Papito, me vas a romper el microphone, papi. Suave.
Yeah, it's cool. We're actually doing this.
Ooh.
Oh, God. Is he going to pull it? Don't let him pull it, please. Okay, there you go. We're doing this because when we go back and watch the episodes, it's like you see the progression of him getting bigger and bigger. Talk on the mic. Let me double check.
It's cute. So, Aevin, do you want to say something to your fans? You have a lot of fans. You know that because you're cute. Go over here. All right. We're going to get on with our show. Are you okay? You look freaked out.
No, I'm looking at I thought he was going to actually say something. He's been saying.
You want to say dada?
Huh?
You want to say dada? All right.
Okay.
We love you, puppy.
I do want to send a shout out to the onesie he's wearing, the wonderfully made onesie, which is available or will be available at goddessadesigner.com.
Oh my God.
I'm plugging as much as possible. 2 sizes.
All right.
That should be the fit check right there.
All right, Papa. Say hi, Miss Gracie.
Thank you, Miss Gracie. Thank you.
Thank God for Miss Gracie.
Yeah. I was nervous the whole time.
I know. You freak out.
I was like speechless pretty much. Well, this is Made in House. Like we said, we're actually recording at home. So you hear the doorbell. You hear all kinds of things that happen at home. And we are inviting you guys to just hang out with us. We're going to be talking through different things this season. Last season, I think, was really, really great. And what was your favorite part of the season from season 1?
My favorite part, honestly, was, and I think I said it at the end of the last episode, was that we committed. And I don't know, I'm really into like finishing things. I don't know, as I get older, like I value different things. And in this season that I'm in, I'm valuing committing to something and actually seeing it through. So that was number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2 was all of the really awesome feedback that we heard from different people in comments or DMs. Sometimes people would text us personally if they were friends of ours of how much the podcast has encouraged them, you know. And some people, like, we're like joking around. Some of our friends are like, "Oh, you guys don't have it put it together either, so I don't feel so bad." You know? It's
it's true.
That's essentially the heart of the show and who we are. We never want to come off like way too put together that we're intimidating or unrelatable. You know, we always want to show you guys it's real, and most people are figuring it out, and it's a work in progress most times. So thank you to everybody who let us know that that you enjoyed watching it.
Absolutely.
What about you?
No, same. I think my favorite episode is probably us breaking down some of the work that we've done and looking back some of the cool projects that we've been involved in. And that was really cool. And I loved putting it on the screen and chatting through it. We could talk for hours on things that we've worked on. And but I agree with you. I also think I love reading the comments and seeing people DM us, and you never know who's watching your stuff. And for us, it was like, we're just going to put it out in the ether, and I don't know, maybe a couple people will watch it. Let's see what happens. But we are, I think on YouTube, almost at 300 subscribers maybe on YouTube, which is like huge to you guys. That's 300
I mean, for us, it is. We're practically...
We're nobody.
Exactly. And, you're putting something out there for the first time, and you're growing it literally from scratch. So
yeah.
Thank you to all 300 of you.
Yeah, thank you. And we wanted to get into today's topic, which we're essentially going to recap what we did on break. There's a lot of things that happened on break.
Yeah.
That if you follow us on Instagram, we post about events that we went to, or that we talked at, or that we visited. It was a lot of traveling and stuff, a lot of learnings. We're going to get into it. But before that, Della, cue the music. I think it's fit check time.
Oh.
It's fit check, babe.
I thought you said Aevin was the fit check.
No, he was a fit check. He was a mini fit check.
Okay, fit check.
Now it's fit check.
Adult version.
So
Okay.
why don't you go ahead?
Well, guys.
And I will. Well, you got to stand up.
Fit check. No, I don't want to stand up. I don't want to stand up. Okay.
You got to stand up.
Fit check.
All right, so Kari, I'll narrate it, babe, because you narrate me every time I stand up.
Oh, okay,
right.
sure.
All right.
Fine, I'll stand up.
Okay, so you're gonna stand up. All right. All right, everybody. Fit check. Go back there so they can see you. This is Fit Check Season 2 episode. Go to the middle. Oh, you can't go over. There's 2 cables. No. Fit Check Season 2, first episode, and Kari's actually wearing Unreleased, because it's not gonna release even by the time this episode goes up. GIAD oversized tee, and this is something that we're experimenting with. The actual artwork is silicone. It feels super high end. The garment is 180 GSM. Feels really good. It's good for summer, and even just like a light version. And this one's actually the men's that she's wearing. Total Vibe 3/4 sleeve, and just a couple woven labels. Nothing too graphical like some of our other stuff. And we also have a crop tee that's gonna go out for women, which is super fresh. In the next fit check, you're gonna have to do a whole thing.
Although, let's be honest, we may change it.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm not in the season to be wearing crops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I think by changing it, I think she says to cover certain areas. So
yeah, like I have a baby on my hip now. I can't be wearing a crop. Like, you know how much he moves?
Yeah.
So.
But
I do want it cropped because I to be shorter than
I think
the
if it
unisex.
lands like right by your pants,
Yes.
in that area, I think it'll be pretty fresh. So.
But Angel, I have to say, this is all Angel's doing, by the way. When it comes to God as a designer, I'm more like a critique, right? Or like a strategist. Like I help on the back end, like operations. But all of the apparel and the garment, it's all Angel. And so he came up with this idea of doing the silicone. And I actually really love it. This is some of my favorite GIAD ever. And the girls, the cropped, I wore it on Sunday. It's in the center and it has these cute little icons.
Yeah.
Which I love. And so thank you for making this stuff. It actually feels really good. I'm not saying it because like it's your brand, because sometimes I'm like, Angel.
I believe her when she says it, because she goes pretty hard on some of the other stuff.
But this feels great.
Good.
It's not like too thick. But it's like the right amount of thickness. It feels premium. So good job. And then the hat you're wearing, tell us.
The hat, this is actually what I call the creator hat. Also a sample that I have to sort of fix certain things on it. But we're actually going to introduce a few different pieces of headwear, including the trucker hat. I got a few 5-panel hats, a camper hat that I'm working on, some beanies and stuff. So just kind of diversify the offerings, because right now the snapbacks are sort of very specific. And I want kind of everybody to be able to wear this. So as part of this collection, we're actually doing a dad hat that has silicone in the front and a looks super fresh, very minimal.
Yeah.
So we got a name of the collection TBD, but the drop I think is gonna be super cool. And I do want to send a shout out to Wow Center, and I'm gonna get up for this one. I'm wondering if Della's still playing the music. Check. This is from the Wow Center Wow Experience drop. You know what I mean? Pretty fresh. And this is I designed this, so as you can kind of see, it's got a vibe, a little woven label right here. And we actually I'm talking like they can hear me. Let me go back here. We actually attended the Wow Experience this past week. So
Yeah, it was awesome.
I did a whole design collection for the Wow Center, and it was I'm super happy with it. I think it came out really cool.
For context,
Yeah.
we're saying a lot of stuff, but
We are
for
saying a lot.
context, the Wow Center is a nonprofit here in Miami, and they focus on adults with disabilities.
Right.
So what happens is the school system has care for them. They go to school, you know, they're in their classes, but once they turn 18, there's really not a lot of options for them. And so the Wow Center is one of those places that takes on these individuals to be able to give them a fruitful life. They actually connect them, it's not just like school, and they have programs where they connect them with jobs and things like that. So it's actually pretty awesome. So Angel's on the board of this organization, and I help them with some of their design work. Truthfully, all I do is I take Angel's designs and I just make flyers and email headers. Yeah. But we love being a part of this organization. We believe in what they're doing. And so they just had their gala. That's the Wow Experience.
Right.
And so part of raising funds for the operational year for 2024 is merch.
It's merch. It's merch. So we're trying to make it a
this
thing.
is how we use our talent and our giftings to make the world a better place.
Right. Wow, that was a really good sort of pitch of Wow Center.
Yeah.
They've been around for 50 years. Mm-hmm. So let me send some shout outs. I want to send a shout out to Nati Wong, that she just left. She was executive director, and now she's at Florida Christian School. Mm-hmm. Sarah, Maddie, that's there. The legends, also the new executive director Arlene, and the rest of the board, Alejandra, Alex, and everyone else. A lot of love to them. So we'll timestamp it, you know.
Maddie?
I said Maddie.
Oh, you said Maddie.
Said Maddie and Sarah.
Sorry.
We love them a lot. And all the individuals, of course. Anyway, so.
Okay, so before we get into our topic, we did want to share something with you guys. We are launching memberships.
Oh my gosh.
Cue the music, Della. I'm kidding.
Music, Della.
And honestly, the first season has been incredible. And thank you guys, like we said, so much for the support. Every like, share, comment, or subscription or follow, depending on the platform that you're in, it makes a really big difference, and it helps support the channel. It helps support what we're doing. And so we wanted to thank you for supporting that way. But we also wanted to let you guys know that if you're interested in getting a little bit more value from us, we're going to be launching memberships, and it's going to be 3 different tiers. One of those tiers is going to include a 1-hour session with Angel and I, Q&A. So we'll do once a month, 1 hour Q&A with Angel and I, and we'll give more details around what that would look like. But basically, if you're interested in that, you can go to the description and click the link. But if you're not into that stuff, if you just love us and just want to donate to the channel to keep it going, because every time that Angel says, cue the music, Della.
It costs money.
Yes. So if you would like to support the channel, we'll also have a PayPal link, and you can go ahead and do that. And we'll have really fancy names that Angel's going to come up with for all the tiers and all this stuff. But we'll talk more about it. But we did want to let you know that it's launched and it's available. And thank you guys, honestly, for supporting, for the text messages, for everything. Absolutely. It's awesome. And the reason why we do this, it's because we're on a journey. I talked about it earlier, I think, where I said we're work in progress, right? And we're learning. And everything that we learned, we want to share, because we learned from people who share stuff, you know, everything, like making our proposals. It was Googling, it was hiring lawyers, different things. So no gatekeeping, which is what Gen Z W? V?
Yeah, Z.
Okay.
Gen
Gen
Z.
Z says no gatekeeping.
No gatekeeping.
All right, let's get into it.
So, great job on that. And Kari said it all. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and we're hoping to grow it together and
Yes.
with you guys. So, for this break that we just had, a lot of things happened, including I got my wisdom teeth pulled.
Oh my God. I
And
forgot. I'm
that
telling
was
you. You did good, baby. You did good.
You guys don't even know. Things that got stuck in the holes that.
Okay.
You
You
know.
know I don't like those conversations.
That, oh man, I will never recover. So, I also got glasses.
Yes. Literally, every time you're talking, you're saying something new. I'm like, I forgot we did that.
Gotti went for her checkup, and I decided to go just to see, and I was like, it'll be fine. And apparently I'm nearsighted. I think nearsighted is what he said.
Yeah.
So of course, immediately I had to look for cool glasses. 'Cause I don't want to. The glasses they gave me had the little line on it. And I look like un viejo. So that happened, and I'm still getting used to it. And what else happened at the home?
Aevin's growing. He's talking.
growing.
He's getting teeth. I hurt my back somewhere along. I think
hurt her back.
right after you got your wisdom,
Urgent
or right
care.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I just had to move. My
Yeah.
back is a little sensitive,
Yeah.
but we're going on.
Yeah,
I
we're
feel the
going.
age. I was at this thing yesterday, a training, and the guy was talking about old age and like. You guys know we're Christian believers, right?
Yeah.
So it was just a funny joke of like he was saying how like he literally needs to pray just to feel better because of his old age, and I was like, oh no, it's gonna get worse
Oh, man.
because Angel and I'm in my 30s, Angel's in his 40s. We're already feeling some of the wear and tear, and
30 years of gravity.
yeah, it's like you're not in your 20s anymore, where you're just up and about and. Like the other day, we went to the gala. We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like mom's night out. Literally. I was like, I'm out. I don't have my baby. I have my champagne, my Prosecco.
It was good.
And I had a little too many drinks.
Uh-huh.
And the morning, when I woke up the next day,
You're like,
it wasn't
"Never
even,
again."
it
No,
wasn't
she did
even
it.
like,
It was like 2 glasses of that.
literally, a Prosecco.
Prosecco.
And
It's
I
like
was just like,
your body just can't.
yeah. Anyway, baby, let's get
I
into.
know.
So all that happened in our break.
Aevin got sick. Go ahead.
Yes, Aevin got sick, a bunch of stuff. Anyway, amidst all of that happening in our personal lives, we had 2 big commitments in October. 3. What's the third one?
Adobe.
Oh, yes. 3 big commitments. So we had 2 for Adobe and 1 for Elevation Church.
Right.
And so we did some traveling. And basically, the reason why we turned it into an episode is because I think we learned a lot and we want to share that with you. And the biggest takeaway from today's episode, besides all the shenanigans we just spoke about, is the importance of storytelling. Now, I know it sounds super cliche, and even for me, like I've heard it and I'm like, oh my God, yes, I get it, whatever. But in this trip, it really, like, I got it in terms of like how important storytelling is. And we'll break it down a little bit more, but basically whenever Angel would, like, people would buy things depending on what he said,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
I saw it in front of, and I was like, oh my God, it actually works. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but let's start from the top. Your Adobe event here in Miami.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking also, because we had to build decks for some of these talks. One of them that I did was the Adobe Create Live, which was in the design district, and I was connected via Design Subtropic. Adriana connected me with the team at Adobe as a featured Miami designer, and I spoke after Michael. Michael was there, first grader, I want to say. I gotta look up on Instagram. Shout out to Michael. He's an awesome guy. He did a whole talk on Adobe Express and AI and Firefly. Sorry, it's Firefly is what he spoke about. But anyway, we had to build these decks for the talk. And like Adi said, you can sort of build a deck and just put bullet points or whatever. But really great storytellers know how to say a lot with just minimal, not effort, but just
Concise.
minimal content on the screen, just kind of put a word and just kind of break it down. Someone that does it really well, Chris Do does it really well, of course. But Chris Do is like just a content machine, and the guy's just a brain. But I feel like Draplin does a really good job, Aaron Draplin, of whenever he does a workshop, to just talk through his whole story and have pictures and relevant sort of information. So when I was invited into this talk at Adobe Create Live, I was tasked to put a deck together. Now the challenge was it was a 10-minute talk. It was a 10-minute speed run, and I was trying to push it to 15 minutes. But Emery, I think it's her name. She was like, no, you got to do it for 10 minutes. So I put this deck together, and Aaron Draplin really inspired me just to how he built his. And you know what I was thinking? I was like, we could probably just show it, and I could just probably go through it.
And probably pull up Instagram too to show photos of the stuff.
Yeah. So I'll put it up now because I want to go through mine, and then we'll talk about Adobe Max, and then maybe we'll go through yours. I think that'll be kind of cool. You okay with that?
Sure, if it's not like an hour and a half episode.
No. We gotta move it fast. So go ahead. Talk a little bit about Create Live, and while I pull this up.
Well, I wasn't there. Because Aevin actually got sick.
Right.
He was pretty sick that week.
Man.
And so Angel had to go by himself. Yeah. But in Miami, at least, we don't have a lot of design events. And I think COVID has affected that, because before 2020, we used to have a lot of events, like creative events. There was like the Prism Group and different groups here in Miami that would put stuff together.
Yeah.
And it kind of died down. So Adobe and what is it called?
Oh yeah.
AIGA, sorry.
Yeah.
AIGA.
Yeah.
In Miami, they've been working together to put some stuff. And actually, AIGA is having Chris Do here in the next few days. He's doing
That's true.
a branding workshop. Anyway, so they invited Angel, and he was going to talk about the Miami seal.
Right.
And so he was in 10 minutes talk about how he rebranded it and created the whole logo.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So I was able to, thank you for that, for the context. I was able to just kind of pull up a new screen here. Okay. So this was my my deck for Adobe Create Now or Adobe Live. And I started off, of course, with a little bit of Euro style, because it's got that sort of, it's Euro style bold extended. And it looks kind of retro, but futuristic. I'm about that life.
That's who you are.
Yeah,
retro
I'm
future.
about that life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had to show out, though. You know what I mean? If I'm building a deck, I even got their assets, and I kind of built this thing. So the idea was to talk through the City of Miami seal, which we spoke about. Did we talk about it in the...
No.
We didn't get to it, but we'll talk about it some other time. I'm not going to get into it. And the colors sort of reflected just what I'm about, and like these sort of super bright colors, and introducing my family to everybody, putting a little bit of, who I am, putting some emojis, which I thought was fun. People laughed at some of the stuff. The print industry with the chancleta over here.
So the point of this slide...
The point of the slide is just to kind of show who I am, and just like a quick TLDR of what I've done and some of my accomplishments. Yeah. And it's essentially a social proof of where I've been, and creating. Is it social proof? What do you call it? Not clout. What's the word?
It's not clout. It's basically anchoring a conversation and helping people understand who you are,
who I am, right,
and the authority that you carry in this space, so that they're able to put it in proper context.
Or whatever.
The good thing, Angel smashed his presentation, and he showed. I wasn't there, but a lot of people gave good feedback around his presentation. Is that he showed his personality? So like the emojis and the color choices and things like that.
Yeah.
It's you showing, and even putting on there, I think you put RIP.
I put the Art Institute. The death emoji on Art Institute.
So for storytelling, obviously you have something to say. You want people in the room to hear it. And so before you say anything that you want them to listen to, help them relate to you in some way.
Right. that's really good.
Yes, I know, baby.
It's like
I
you're
know.
in my
I'm
head,
pretty
bro.
great. I did help you build the deck.
You did. You did. So I spoke a little bit about who I was, and then I talked a little bit about the projects that I'm involved in. See, Endo time.
Again, like think of somebody
Yeah.
who's gonna talk about this logo, and you're supposed to take something away. It's like
Qualify is
There
what I
you
meant.
go.
Qualifying
There you
yourself.
go. Thank you.
That's
We
what
were
it was.
helping.
I know. Thank you.
we help each
Yeah,
other.
you have to qualify yourself because then people are going to be like, well, this guy just did a logo, but I'm showing, hey, I've been in the game X amount of time. I've done these. These are my achievements. And it
Yes.
kind of qualifies me
Yes.
for them to be able to listen to me as
Yes.
opposed to, well, this guy's super random.
Exactly.
So here I spoke about GIAD. And this is actually available on my LinkedIn if you guys want to download it. All these links are clickable as well. The film app and Made in House. Shout out. 250 subs. People love this. I think we're almost at 300, right? We said
Yeah.
250 subs. Because I was like, oh, we got 1 million impressions. And everybody was like, wow. But then I was more excited about the fact that we got 250 subs. Anyway, let me skim through it. Then, I kind of started when we're telling the story, kind of taking people back to COVID and how it started. And then here, using the GTA font of when you get killed, wasted, it said fired, and then I was hired.
Because that's the story of,
That
that's
is the
again,
story.
Angel was fired from Royal Caribbean. Fired is a very strong word. He was let go due
Laid
to COVID.
Furloughed is
Yes,
probably
due
what
to
they're saying.
COVID. And he had a lot of free time in his hands.
I did. But you know what? Fired and hired is just more dramatic,
It is.
So, but yes, you're right. I wasn't fired for anything. Anyway, again, qualifying what I did. This dude getting it tattooed, which is legendary. And then talking about the actual release itself, the press release, which happened in
April of
April.
2023.
In April.
I'm just here to
Yeah, you're just here.
be like
so what was, look, this slide right here was directly inspired by Draplin. I love like how he uses color and stuff, and he uses a lot of oranges and
like conversation starters
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like his transitions.
So what was the process like exactly? And then I called somebody. I was like, oh yeah, thanks for asking or whatever. And that's Bandit. Dito. And then we talked a little bit about the process. I'm not gonna get into this right now because
We need a show just
I think
for this.
we need a whole conversation based on this. But here, notice I spoke about, because I'm in an Adobe event. I specifically talked about what I used to make everything, and then GIFs. People like this stuff. Kind of seen a little bit behind the scenes. I'll skip through a lot of this stuff. YouTubing, full video, mock-ups, and things like that. And then, oh man, this freaking style guide. And then I got into, when I'm ending, I got into a couple of quotes. Of course, Michael Beirut, I think is how you pronounce it.
I think so.
Beirut. Says, in the world of design and opportunities, always waiting to be discovered, which is I love. And I think GIAD really recently just posted something about the quote about dancing, being on the dance floor.
Yeah.
I'm butchering it, but anyway. And then, of course, this quote by Wayne Gretzky, technically not Michael Scott, but yeah, people really love this. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended. So it's like you end on like a
Inspirational, because
inspirational
the whole
angle.
point of how this even came about was Angel just took a chance. He made something. Nobody asked you to make this logo. You love Miami and you wanted to see an improvement and a logo that better reflected the city. And so you did it, and then you send it to the mayor. A bunch of people tagged the mayor, whatever. Ultimately, you got his attention, and now the city bought it from you.
They bought it. Took 3
And
years.
they use it. Yeah. And so, the whole point was to inspire people to go for the things that they're dreaming about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good job. Baby, we make a good team.
We're like doing stuff.
¿Ves el dúo dinámico aquí?
Dúo de la historia.
En mí. This is
W.
the truth. Doble A, Acevedo. No, please, W. A.
Triple A.
Okay.
Double A. Double A.
Dale, sigue. Okay, so you did this
yeah.
Adobe Live.
Yeah. So Adobe Create Live, and I got to meet a lot of really cool people. And I feel like the connections that I made is really what, of course I said yes, it's even if it was like a 5-minute talk, of course I was going to say yes. And the people that I got to meet there, I feel like now I made connections for a long time. And Michael and I, like, we DM each other all the time on Instagram, and like we love each other. It's cool because he's around my age and we're into the same things, and he's an Adobe evangelist. So he travels to a lot of these types of events, and I feel like I made an impact, on the Adobe team. And not only that, but on just people in Miami. People had no idea. So I do have a highlight on Instagram if you want to check it out. And actually I was gonna put it here, but it doesn't matter. We can remove this. And just check it out. It was actually really, really cool. I think my learnings from that is just, again, one of those things that's like, say yes and then figure it out, and just go from there. Like it's interesting because I wasn't as nervous as I was when I went to Adobe MAX. When we did Adobe MAX, I was more nervous about that than actually this talk, because I was very familiar with the material and I knew exactly what I was going to say. And if I didn't know, I will have a slide that will prompt me to say what I needed to say. It was kind of like making the deck easy for me to remind myself of like the points that I needed to get to. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
Great job.
What do you think?
I think it's awesome. I think it's great. We need more events like that. And Miami, I want Miami to be known for the people that actually live here, not whoever designed the freaking Miami soccer logo, who's not from Miami.
That's true. The in Miami.
I don't know what it's called because I'm not
Inter Miami.
Yeah. I'm not trying to come at anybody.
But it was, I think, a New York studio that ended up designing.
It would be nice,
Yeah. Home team.
There's a lot of great talent here in Miami.
Home team.
And home team. All right. So a few weeks after that, we go to Adobe MAX, and like Angel was saying, we were nervous about it. It was the first time it was my first time going to Adobe MAX, Angel's second time.
Right.
And I don't know why. Personally, I was nervous. I think because it was something that was new and I didn't know what to expect. There's really no other reason why. It's kind of silly. But it was in LA, and Christo with the Future, they invited us to be there. Christo had a booth. And so they were there with the Future. He was doing some workshops, and he actually had guest speakers as well. And so he literally gave us a table in his booth, and the table was like 2x6, 3x6, something like that.
Yeah, 3x6. Yep.
And so there was a lot of logistics for us, again, that we're not super familiar with, in shipping product over there, figuring out how much product to ship, making sure that we had enough for 3 days, but not too much because we didn't have a lot of storage. Logistically, it was like quite a few things that we had to figure out, but we did a good job. I think overall, we only shipped back like 60 hats, which is not bad compared to everything that we took.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it was our first time. So I think we gauged it okay.
Yeah.
But it was fun. We were there for 3 days, and we're going to get more into just the details of like how I want you to share who you met, how it felt being there, telling the story. And then I would love for you, and I can kind of chime in a little bit, but just the way that the story of GIAD and who was telling the story, how it impacted the person that was there, and then the fact that they would actually purchase.
Yeah. So I think one of the most special things that I experienced was sort of telling the story over and over again to people that had never heard about God as a designer, right? And but before I do that, I want to first thank Chris Doe and the team at the Future, Monica and Amy, Mark, and the rest for just giving us the opportunity just to be in the room, which I think was really special. Going to LA and just having a presence, God as a designer, having a presence in the marketplace, So it was really special, as just kind of seeing the people's sort of light bulbs or their eyes light up when you tell the story of God as a designer and how it started. And when you're saying Genesis 1:1, in the beginning God created, and then them sort of putting two and two together, like, oh, that's why. Oh, I get it now. And the more I told the story, obviously the easier it got, and the more the things that I sort of remembered. But when I told the story, and I think you were there for that, and you saw people immediately, some people, not everybody, that's when they decided to buy into it, because it's like, oh, this is something that I believe in as well, or this is something that I can sort of, it resonates with me. And people would just sit there and just listen, or people around would listen, and they would go ahead and make a purchase, which was really cool. I had other conversations of people that were like, is this just a cool thing that you're doing, or is there a meaning behind it? And they're like, well, this is what it actually means to me, and how it started. And me as a Christian, or as a believer, a person of faith, the God is a Designer brand has the foundation essentially on my faith and what I believe in, and creativity, and being in our DNA, and having a creator that created the universe and this whole thing. And sometimes I would get lost kind of telling the story of like the wonder of it all. And people really liked it. I don't know if people that I spoke to shared the same faith that I did, or the same faith that we did, or maybe they didn't believe in God at all. But I think the brand is executed really well, and it really just starts conversations, so it was really cool. I had some other people give me a little bit of pushback, or things that were like, well, this should say God is the designer, not a designer. And that kind of happens often, and it just sparks conversation either way, one way or the other. But it was really, really special just to be there. And I'm thankful that Crystal and the Future gave us an opportunity to just be there. And one of the things that I remember, it's like everything in the brand has a purpose. And yes, it comes from like my soul, right? My spirit, the things that I like and the things that I enjoy. But one of the things being like international orange, which is a color that NASA uses to identify astronauts in space. And it's just something that they use as part of their apparel, or part of their products, right? Is that how you would say it? Yeah. So when I would say that, like, hey, this is the black hat, and this is the international orange hat, and this is why, immediately people would be like, oh, that's really cool. It's not just orange, it's like international orange, or there's like a meaning behind, or a purpose behind why we use this. So super special. I'm just so grateful to be there. And Kari and I were like, well, we need to sign up for next year.
Yeah, we'll see if we do it again. But I do want to kind of talk about that international orange a little bit more, because I noticed how it would help people make decisions. So Angel had a few different types of hats on the table. If you're familiar with the brand, he has like a stealth and like a black and white, black orange. And so at that point we had two left, right? We just had the classic, and then we had the international orange, and we would show them to people, and then they'd be like, oh, I don't know which one to pick.
Right.
And then Angel would be like, well, the orange is inspired by the NASA orange that they use. And then you would see people's eyes like lit up.
Right.
And then more often times than not, they would pick the orange because it had a story attached to it that resonated with them, and then made the decision making process a lot easier. So that was like one of the key takeaways for me, in terms of like, we're building a product line, and we are obviously, there's always a financial benefit to the things that we do. We have to make a living. Right. It's the reality of it. But we always want to do it in a way where we're embedding something into people's lives, you know? And God is a designer. The message is, you got creativity in you. You know what I mean? And so whatever I have to do, if it's embedding more stories into all of the different hats, or why we do certain things to help connect with people, it's something that I definitely want to explore more and do. But it taught me that lesson, and it taught me to really be mindful and possibly have some form of story to almost anything that we do. The origin story was really powerful. It got people into the brand, but then the micro storytelling that you had already created helped people make decisions between products, or if they actually purchase or not. And so I thought that was really cool. And to be honest, I think we stood out from the crowd in terms of like storytelling. Yeah. One, because the name is different, and it does start conversation, like how you were saying. But two, the origin story is very personal, and it's something that you really believed in. And when people saw the founder, because they would be like, "Oh, you're the founder,
Right?
The creator,"
Yeah.
and they would get amused by that stuff. And it's like, I had never been around an environment where these key things like really engage with people, because we've always sold God as a designer online,
Right.
or people that we know that just support us.
Right.
So it was really special. And also people from different nationalities, like people from India, Pakistan,
Bangladesh.
yeah, sorry, I
Yeah.
couldn't. People from Canada, South America. All of them, that this phrase, God as a designer, resonated with who they are and what they do, and added meaning to that. And so it was really special.
Yeah.
And I know that Adobe has Adobe Evangelists, where we were just regular evangelists
We're just
at
regular
Adobe MAX.
gospel
And
evangelists.
so,
And there's something to be said about this when you're designing or when you're making things. Everything should have a purpose and a reason.
Yeah.
Not just because it looks cool. Yeah, it will look cool, but everything should be based off something that will add to the world building
Yes.
of whatever it is that you're doing, and I feel like when we can get into icons, we can get into all the things that represent GIAD, but I think people really resonated with that, which was really cool. And I learned a lot from people. I want to shout out to this guy named Tyler. When I was explaining why I use English and kanji or Japanese together, how the rhythm of the two languages in one, especially when you look at movies in the future, futuristic, cyberpunk or dystopian, whatever movies set 100, 200 years from now, they're always multi-languages, because you're looking at the world not just through the microscope of like one race or one country or one people, but you're looking at it through the lens of humanity. And he was like, what were you gonna say?
Go, you say.
No, he was like, to me that means that in these movies the future is always multicultural.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh, I am stealing that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. It's such a beautiful way of putting it into words, so.
Yeah. Guys, there's a lot of vision behind God as a designer. And I know that it started very generic and basic with just a regular t-shirt that you printed. Almost the first kind of Gildan.
It was probably Next Level or something.
Next Level?
Yeah.
No, because they're not soft. The original, the
OG
OG
ones. Yeah, probably Gildan. Yeah.
And with just Helvetica, but we've been kind of working on it and really intentionally for the last 3 years. And this week we had what we called like a little breakthrough, because the thing about GIAD, and we're derailing a little bit, but the thing about GIAD is that it's literally from Angel's heart. Like a lot of who Angel is, he attempts to express through God as a designer. And so now that it's become a brand, and we have to make product, we have to make decisions, and we have to build like a level of like a pattern behind what we do, I help Angel kind of keep some boundaries, so that, because he'll start doing like 1980s stuff, and it's like, wait, where does this come from, but we were having a conversation because he's been trying to introduce a robot into this world, and so he'll just come at me because retro future, and I'm like, but what does it mean? All of a sudden, hold on, babe.
No, you're right, you're not wrong.
And so we did a little exercise where I asked Angel, where do you want Gaia to go? And from there it took an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And we kind of wrote a bunch of stuff down, but we came up with a triangle. I think the triangle is going to become like a framework that I use
100%.
because it unlocked something in me when I was doing the elevation presentation. But a triangle of these basically foundational, what is it, like core symbols or
core, I would say, yeah,
of what GIAD is. And we were able to find meaning for the robot that now lives into the Gaia world, and now we know how to explain it and build copy around it and a world where you're talking about world building because you're into video games, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like if Gaia was a video game, what does this robot mean in the
Right.
context of the main player,
Right,
you know?
right.
And so we were able to unlock that, and so we're going to introduce, hopefully,
Yeah.
the robot in 2024, but now we have a reason for it, and
Right.
it's part of the storytelling aspect.
I feel like it's a reason, but now I feel like now we have language for
Yes.
it. I feel like the reason, there was always something always there, foundational, but I think now we have the
Yeah.
right language to put behind it.
And the right word that I was looking for is the pillars. We have
Right.
3 pillars
The
now
3 pillars.
for Gaia, the framework that we're going to imagine like a machine, and you stick everything
Right,
through there.
everything through that
like
lens.
an x-ray to
yeah.
make sure that it aligns with the brand.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Essentially, Kari did a whole strategy session unbeknownst to me. And it was...
Unbeknownst to me.
Yeah, it was actually really cool.
Yeah. All right, baby. So God is a designer. A lot there that we're going to be doing in 2024. But takeaway, storytelling. So whatever you're doing, whatever project that you're in, take the time. It is a little bit time consuming,
is.
you know. Use AI. We use AI often, you know. AI needs a human. So AI is not going to, right now at least, AI is not going to take over too much, but use it to your advantage to
Yeah, it's a
write
tool.
copy, you know, ask it questions, help it know who you are as a person so that when you put prompts into it, it's able to help you. But take the time to build some of the storytelling for what you're doing,
Right.
and it's going to help you a ton. So from there, we jump on another plane, and we saw Aevin. Like in a week and a half, we saw Aevin for like 3 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
And all of that. So it was a lot, but we jumped on a plane to North Carolina. Elevation Church had invited me a few months back. Did you have something to say?
No, the only thing I was gonna note was if you're not familiar with the Christian church or the Christian church overall, Elevation may not mean much to you, but Elevation Church is a legacy church that's been around for, I don't know, almost
17.
I was gonna say almost 20 years, and they're, at least in the U.S. and even globally, because I know they have the EFAM globally. They're one of the leaders just in the faith overall, you know, that are just changing the landscape. And so when Kari was invited to give a talk, to give some kind of talk, right? Because it was like you weren't really sure. At Elevation, this was, you know, monumental because I feel like, and maybe I throw you flowers or brag on you all the time, but I feel like our church, VU Church, is probably one of the leaders in overall in creativity and a lot of things that we do, and just in culture, and led by Pastor Rich and Kari, and that's up there just introducing things and just changing the whole scape. I think it's really special. So to get that sort of recognition from Elevation Church and for them to invite you just really qualifies a lot of the stuff that you've worked on already and who you are. Not that you need that, but I feel like it's such a great testament as to your brain and your creativity and how the Lord is using you to change the world, you know? So just a shout out to Kari, everybody. Shout out to Kari, everybody.
Thank you, babe. That's very sweet. But yeah, I was intimidated. At first I was like, oh my God, this is so cool, you know, because in the context of the church world, they're one of the leaders, you know, and we learn a lot from them. And so at first I was like really excited, and then the reality set in, and then I freaked out, you know. And on top of having to do this talk, I don't do a lot of talks, so it's not like I have stuff prepared. I have a lot of content,
Right.
but based on like what I normally do, you know. So I was like, oh my God, I have to put a deck together while I'm in LA. I'm not even home, like I'm on the road, you know. And so I was a little stressed out, and I think that with Adobe MAX, it kind of compounded a little bit to the point where, like, by the time that we get to North Carolina, my voice was gone. And I'm like,
cold.
yeah, it was chilly. And so, anyway, we get there, and I basically I had to put a presentation together like 2 days before, like on the airplane. I was like trying to put notes together.
Yeah.
And but to be honest, I didn't get full clarity on what I was gonna say to like the day before. Like after being with the team and kind of I don't know, being in the city, it kind of helped. But basically, I didn't want to come in with the attitude of like I'm an expert, I know what I'm talking about, because they know more at the end of the day than I know, you know? And so I just took on the approach of telling them my story,
Right.
and things that have helped me on my journey, you know? And my entire presentation was similar to what you just showed, where in the beginning I show where like, who am I? Why am I here? You know, where I come from, and sort of helping them understand the lens through how I create for the church. And then I ended with 7 design philosophies that I literally I wrote that down for the first time for this presentation, and it's the way that I make things, but I've never written them down. And so I wrote them down. It's funny because sometimes you do things, you say yes to things, and they kind of force you to really think about what the heck you're doing and how you're doing it. You know, kind of like how you were saying with telling the origin story. It's the first time was like, oh, and then towards the end, you kind of figured it out. So I took that approach, and I think it really resonated with them. But the key for me, and it actually became the one thing that I remember most from the trip was, and I used it in the presentation. We went to the Billy Graham museum right before. I saw an advertising in the airport. I didn't even know that was there. And so it happened to be 5 minutes away from the airport. So we literally land, we grab our bag, and we're like, let's just go here because it's close. So we go, and I wasn't expecting to get a lot of it. I was expecting to be inspired because he's a legend in the faith, you know? But gosh, I'm so glad. It's like God, the way God does things, you know? It's like we go there, and they give you like this quiz to fill out, so like you pay attention to everything. And so I took it so serious, and I'm going,
yeah, it's like she was in school, you know?
I was like filling out my quiz, and then because I had to get all the questions right, I stopped by this booth thing. So imagine like a glass with a bunch of stuff on it that like you kind of walk around. What do you call that? Like I don't know, presentation, a booth. I don't know. It has a name, like a glass.
Like a glass case.
Yeah, a glass case.
Display.
And so,
display.
Yeah, there's a watch on there. There's a photo of a watch.
I can't believe I missed that, but probably because I was in a rush. But
watch.
Yeah,
a watch that goes on your wrist.
What were you gonna say? A clock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a dot in the middle of this watch, and then there's a little card that says, "Pray on the spot." I think it was. Pray on the spot. And it was a campaign that they did right before their crusades, their tent revivals, to remind people to pray. So they literally put this green dot on the clock just so whenever I look down to see the time, I'm reminded to pray.
It's brilliant.
And it was literally an illustrator of how I try to create. But not only did it help me convey a point in my presentation, it helped them remember me, because we actually went to CVS and we ended up we got orange dots because orange is the color of your church. We got orange dots. So as I'm talking about this and I'm showing them an example to hopefully inspire their creativity, I'm also helping embed that moment, because I gave them a dot. And if they displayed that dot on their phone or a notebook or whatever object they had around them, they're going to remember that moment, you know? And again, it's the power of storytelling and objects, and attaching meaning to things and creating bridges for people, that when they walk over that bridge with you, they have the same understanding that you have, and they're bought in a different way. They're engaged in a different way. And so that was really special. And I remember the crowd kind of clapping, and they got excited when we gave away the stickers. But it was special. And again, it just goes to what we're talking about here, like the power of storytelling. We're doing a bunch of stuff right now. We're doing the podcast. We're doing God as a designer. I'm building my content and my courses. But in everything that we do, we're embedding our story of who we are to make it relatable to people, but also hopefully to elevate the things that we're doing. You know, it's not just a sticker. It's a sticker to remind you that you were created on purpose for a purpose, you know?
So good,
and
man.
So, yeah. And just looking at me like the camera's gonna die. So, do you want to wrap it up? Because I don't know what's happening.
No. Let's put Bandit up and we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. What an episode.
Yeah.
So the main takeaway.
Story.
Tell a story and tell it well.
Tell a story. And guys, I know that we're not being like, this is how you tell a story. Start with intro.
For that, become a member.
Yeah. In our Q&A.
In our Q&A. Sure. We'll talk about it.
Because you know why? Because you can Google that stuff, you know, and this show is about giving you something different that it's not Googleable, you know, and it's like, this is how we're figuring things out. And yes, there's always been an origin to God as a designer, and there's always been a way that I kind of lean towards designing, but over time it's become more clear and we have been able to write it down. The reason why I even have 7 design principles, it's because I've been doing it a long time and I have certain things that I go back to that I know that work for me and that give me results, you know? And so all that comes about with time. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, start somewhere. You got at least an intro. There may not be a lot of tension and stuff yet, but over time, you'll be able to build that story and then use the tools available to you. Use the internet to learn how to write good stories. Use AI to help you write, because sometimes copy can be difficult, you know? Yeah. But the encouragement today is whatever you're doing, go for it and write a story. Embed storytelling into it. And not just in the production, like the creation process, your reason for creating, but also when you're presenting it to people, present it in a way where you're telling story.
Really good. Yeah. My question for you is, final question. Will you be sharing the 7 principles? I
did already share it on Instagram, so thanks for not following.
I know, but I'm saying is that's probably like a whole episode that we...
Yeah, I've thought about sharing it. For sure, I'll share it here on Made in House.
After hours.
And I'll give,
members only.
Members only, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll give reasoning and more explanation. Because whatever I shared on Instagram is just like the actual principles. Yeah. But not a lot of explanation.
Love that.
And I think what I talked about, that clock with the sticker, I think it'll help drive it home.
Yeah. Wait. I don't even want to get into it.
I'm not going to show it.
I know. No, because you said there was something you said, contrasting ideas or something like that. That was like,
it's one of my design principles.
Sorry.
I'm saying principles now, but I call them philosophies in my...
Kari's philosophy?
Yeah.
Kariism?
But I should change the name to principles. Okay. See, guys? it evolves as you go.
Live. It evolves live. Yeah. Or recorded.
All right, baby.
Well, great job, Kari. Episode 1 down, 100 more to go. Just really cool. I learned a lot from you, and I'm so excited for the rest of the season. I feel like we have some banger episodes coming. And yeah, if of course, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Follow us on Spotify and YouTube. That's where we're at. Like this video, share it with a friend. People don't know we exist. There's a saying, I forgot. If you don't know you exist, doesn't matter how good you are. If people don't know you exist. Okay. So share it with a friend. Yeah. Right? If you find this content valuable, as Kari says.
Become a member if that interests you.
Become a member. Yeah. Even if it doesn't interest you, become a member anyway, you know? Yeah. Like, just help us out.
Help us pay Della.
Help us pay Della, because I know he's going to charge us a lot of money for this.
No, Della's been good to us. I know. Thank you, Della. We appreciate you.
All right. We'll see you next time. As always,
keep making beautiful things.
See you.
See you. Bye.
Thank you for joining Made in House. On your way out, if you would be so kind to follow, subscribe and or like our episode in the relevant social media platforms. Feel free to share this episode with your colleagues. And, as always, keep making beautiful things.